Life is a journey, and through this journey, we come across all challenges. These challenges makes us better human beings. We live for the pleasure of serving others and feeling the guidance of the Creator. Join us and explore the opportunities to overcome your difficulties this Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praise be to Allah, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and peace and blessings be upon our beloved messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear brothers and sisters, I salute you all with the salutation of the people of paradise. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. From me, your host Hatim al-Absalam, and joining me, my dear brother Ahmed al-Mata'ni. Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Hatim.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. Alhamdulillah.
Good. Alhamdulillah.
So are you prepared for Eid?
Well,
Are you done with shopping?
A long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah, before Ramadan started. Either.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on the last day of this show, we're going to have a special topic about Eid. So we'll go into more details about that,
guess,
inshallah.
Yeah.
So today we have another technical topic, and this topic is dedicated to all the employees out there and the employers, as it is directly related to them. We did a lot of programs which were social, religious, maybe emotional, family-wise, psychological.
Religious.
But today we thought that we're going to do something different, and
professional.
we're going, very professional, inshallah. And we have guests also that we invited on the show that will call us later on, and they are professionals in their own field. And what we're going to talk about today is qualification versus experience.
Correct.
As this is a topic that is always spoken about in companies, in government sector, in all industries almost, and not only in Oman, in many places around the world. It's a common concern for all parties, for all employees and workers, that there's always this conflict between having a qualification and having only the job experience. So today we're going to discuss some of the points, and then we're going to hear the opinion of some of the experts on this field through the calls, because we got comments from our dear listeners that what we share here and what we discuss is only our personal experience when it comes to the topic. But it's very important to get a professional about that topic to speak about the issues. So that's what we did today. So today, later on, we'll have the calls. So where do we start now, Ahmed? Why is this important, Ahmed, this topic?
Well, it's been always a debatable issue, Who's the right person for the job? This is the case. A lot of people talk about, should we hire the person with a lot of experience or the person with the qualifications?
Yes.
And some people even are confused, actually, which option they should go for, depending on the context, depending on a lot of factors, we're going to discuss today. So I think it's a very important topic to discuss and try to shed lights on why, we should go for one or the other, or maybe both of them.
And you have two teams. One team says that you should start off with the qualification first, and then go and seek experience, while the other team prefers to go on the job training first and get the experience, and then the qualifications make sense. Yeah, you become whatever you study, and then you have already seen in the practical side of it, and you become better off through that way. And the third team that is not
combining
combining the two, it's not really existing in Oman.
Yeah,
we'll also talk about that and see why it is not why it's not happening in Oman. So, in your opinion, Ahmed, what comes first between these two?
And I think before we start talking about, what comes first, let's define, the word qualifications and the word experience. And you'll see that they are really connected. Okay, let's talk about qualification. According to a definition that I found in a dictionary, Qualification can be defined as a special skill or type of experience or knowledge that makes someone suitable to do a particular job or activity. Look at this definition. We're repeating some of the words, okay, like what?
Particular
Experience,
job.
knowledge, skills. So there is a kind of relationship between what? Qualifications and experience.
And experience. Yes.
So that's, the first thing. Another definition is also something that is necessary in order for you to do or have or be part of something. This is also another definition for qualification. Now, if we look at the other term, which is experience, experience can be defined as the process of doing or seeing things or of having things happen to you. Or sometimes it can be defined as a skill or knowledge that you get by doing something. You see, there are a lot of words overlapping between the two definitions, which could tell us a lot that, these two terms working together, hand in hand. So this is, the first thing. Now back to your question. What comes
first?
First. We don't have a definite answer actually for that. Okay, you cannot have one answer that can answer this formula for so many reasons. First of all, it depends on the nature of the job. Maybe certain jobs do not require what? Qualification. Okay, you just need to learn something by doing and so on. So you need to go to school. And this is also a debatable thing. For example, what is a qualification? Is it only a degree that you have to get from school or university? Or any course that you have to take, okay, in a very short time in order to be qualified to do something? This is also another thing that we have to talk about. So what is a qualification? Qualification is a 4-year degree, okay, or a master degree or PhD degree, or those, short courses that people tend to take. So this is, the first thing. So we need to, first of all, to look at the nature of the job. Certain jobs would require qualifications. Other jobs would require what? Experience more than what having, qualifications. So we cannot say that, qualifications could come, okay, before the experience and vice versa. Of course, it depends also on the context, It depends on the circumstances of people. Sometimes, and
the abilities.
Of people. If some people can go to college, if they are financially okay and fine, they can go for college and they can, experience they can get a degree. While other people might not have the resources in order to have the degree. So does that mean, they have to be left out? That's also another question,
Yes.
So it depends on the nature of the job, it depends on the circumstance, it depends on the financial resources, and of course it depends on other factors, for example, when it comes to the environment that we live in, the employers, requirements.
Yes.
Certain jobs would definitely have to have certain requirements in terms of qualification and so on.
Yes.
Other jobs might not have. And of course, this also depends on the financial resources that company has. When a company doesn't have a lot of resources to hire somebody with a lot of qualifications, they will opt to go for what? Somebody with what?
Experience.
A lot of experience and so on. So it depends on the nature of the job, the resources available, it depends on the environment and so on. So we cannot say one concept, like qualification, is better than the other or vice versa.
The thing is, it's a cycle, it's a dilemma.
Yeah.
Ahmed, when you go and apply for a job,
correct,
they will ask you for your qualification.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing they ask you. And then if you present their qualification, they want like 10 years of experience,
mm-hmm.
which is not practical.
Yeah.
If you just graduated, how can you have 10 years of experience in the job? And most of these graduates today, they complain about this.
Yeah.
All the ads that you see in the newspaper, most of them, they talk about these weird numbers of years of experience.
Yeah.
5 years, 7 years, 10 years.
Correct.
Then when will we be employed?
Exactly.
And the people who have that 10 years of experience, they go and apply for a job, they say, sorry, you don't have a degree.
Yeah.
So this is a total contradiction. I don't know where did we go wrong.
Well,
is it depending on that particular organization, or is it the trend everywhere we go?
Well, there are so many factors actually. As we said, maybe the nature of the job, maybe, the circumstances, might play a role when it comes to this. But, back to the question, when somebody who just graduates from school or from university and does not have experience. Now, first of all, let's go back to the idea. What do they mean by experience? Do you have to have a full-time job while you are studying? Or maybe a job, while you are studying? Because sometimes you can still study and get a job. So you can combine between the two.
Yeah.
Okay? But I agree with you. Sometimes it's very difficult. And this is why we say it sometimes can be confusing for the employers and for the employee. Which job, he should go for. Okay?
Yeah, but as an employer, you already know what is required in that particular job.
Correct.
So you want a particular skill. So why don't you interview the person and find out whether, because at the end of the day, as an employer, you want the job to be done.
Correct.
And that's the requirement, to get the job done. So whether the qualification gets the job done or the experience gets the job done, it should not matter.
Yeah, but sometimes
and
some of the jobs might.
Even in terms of packages. Okay, if you have someone who is qualified but with no experience and someone who is experienced with no qualification, you cannot say that one is better than the other. You cannot deprive the person who does not have qualification, saying that, sorry, you will not be in a particular level because you don't have a qualification. Yeah, but I can't do the job. I can't fulfill the needs of the company.
Yes. So I agree with you. Okay. The company should know what they exactly need, when it comes to the candidates, they want to hire. But at the same time, even if you put, conditions, or criteria and so on for that, okay, you will not be able to really identify that person sometimes. Unless, as you said, you test that person, you assess his skills and so on. Okay. So even if you're sure as an employer what you need, sometimes, all these requirements that you have might not reveal the real level of that person.
I find it very confusing, especially for those who are graduates and are really keen to find jobs, because the concept in their minds is that I have to get this qualification.
Yes.
Yeah, and the more qualifications I get, the better chances I have for a job. So you go and apply for this job, and you get rejected, not because you're not competent to do the job. You're being told that you're overqualified.
Yeah, this is very funny. Yeah.
Which is something
strange.
that I can't understand. Yeah, the more knowledgeable the person is, then the better it is for the company. But they might not have the criteria to employ them, but you can tell them that, okay, this is the level that we have, this is the package that we have, which might not be equivalent to your qualifications, but we would like to offer you a job. But don't turn me down. Don't give me, you're not giving me the choice. Just you're penalizing me for being more qualified.
Okay. But, we have to still, we need to identify the word more qualified. Because also sometimes we might have a degree.
Yes.
But does that mean, you're the right, person for the job? Because qualified could be what? Having a degree.
Yes.
And qualified means, are you able to do the job or not? So having, so many degrees does not mean that you are the right person for the job.
Okay, we have our first caller for today. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
This is Fahad Abdullah.
Fahad. Yes, Fahad. Tell us, what do you think of the topic of today?
Yeah, it's very good, very excellent topic.
Alhamdulillah.
As you mentioned, there is many complaint about the fresh graduates, especially about the advertisements being from some companies. They ask for degree, and in additional of degree, they asking for experience.
Yes.
In my opinion, I think now the most organization, they don't want to spend time and money to develop and train these people. They only looking for the ready people who has already experience. So when they join them, they already have the job. I think Ministry of Manpower should intervene in this criteria, because many development, it must be done by the organization, by the company. I mean, and the fresh graduate people, I mean, if they're staying at home for many years without any job, just waiting for the job, they will forget everything they've been studied in the university or college, whatever, and they will start again from the zero. So I think it should, for this, especially for these big companies, oil and gas company, communication company, whatever, the big companies, it should be assigned for a scheme of the training. Each year, they have to enroll a certain number of fresh graduates and train, develop by them, and then they will, be as an employee for that organization. This is my opinion.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Fahad, for your opinion. Very valid opinion, and I think many graduates out there are sharing the same experience. So well said, Fahad. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. I just want to echo what Fahad was talking about. I have a similar experience, actually. And I talked to the top management of my institution about this. And what we did, actually, we decided to adopt, a lot of fresh graduates, to be trained, at the college. And we decided to first of all, to show them, how the whole system works and so on. And we decided to give them, a reduced load at the beginning. So that they can go observe, other people who have a lot of experience. And then gradually we start, to ask them to do more work.
Yes.
And of course, we decided to give them also other chances to develop themselves through going for their further studies and so on. And this is, back to the idea if you have the financial resources or not, and also whether you believe in the development of human resources. Because as Fahad said, a lot of companies will say, what? I don't have the resources to develop, people. I need to have somebody who's ready for the job and he starts, working. Because they might, have this, thought that if I employ somebody without any experience, he might spoil, my reputation, the image of my institution, and so on.
I would like to disagree a little bit about when you employ people who have qualification and have experience. What I see, the trend is they still have a training budget.
Correct.
They still send people to Dubai and London and Singapore for training.
Yes.
And most of the time you go to these training workshops for 1 week, for example, you don't benefit out of it.
Yeah.
You hardly get anything. Yeah, so the training budget is already there. So why don't you employ fresh graduates and use that training, even if it's in-house, and train these young people?
Exactly.
Because what are we going to do with the thousands of graduates that we have every single year who don't have jobs?
And in addition to what you have just said, I absolutely agree with you. What guarantees you to have, that the person that is coming from another institution will be able to implement what you have in terms of philosophy or a vision or a mission and for your institution. Sometimes your experience, might not work in my place.
Yes.
So, that does not guarantee that you will have, person who is qualified to do the job in your institution or in a different institution. And if you allow me, I would like to quote, a statement by one of my professors. He was saying that sometimes you might have somebody who have been working for 20 years. 20 years, But that 20 years time is equal to 1 year because that person will just repeat exactly the same thing that he started with 20 years ago.
Yes.
So if we go for quantity only, and forgetting the quality of that, person, or that work that person can give, then we might end up having, a lot of people who are not capable of doing the job.
And that's the thing. The way I see it, it's easier to get a fresh graduate and train them to the processes and the policies and mold them to what I want in the organization. More than employing someone who is already experienced, who has the culture of another organization and comes to this organization and finds it difficult to cope with the systems, and he has a certain way doing things. Now he needs to change. He needs to adopt.
Yes.
He might be transferring bad experiences. He might be transferring bad attitude from a different organization.
Yeah.
So it's better to get a graduate and train them so that they can carry on, and they learn very fast. They're smart, they're intelligent,
exactly,
and they can do the job. Most of them prove that they can do the job.
And in terms of stability, like a lot of employers will look into your record, your experience record. If they feel that you're moving from one place to another, okay, they might not hire that person. So experience sometimes is not a good thing, especially if a person tends to move from one institution to another. Like if they always say, between 3 to 5 years, okay, is a good time to hire somebody. But if it is less than that, you start, feeling the risk of hiring somebody. If somebody stays in one institution for 1 year and then moves to another institution, there is something wrong about that person. Maybe there is something wrong about the institution that he worked for.
No, but Ahmed, sometimes maybe you're so good and then you get offers from different companies and then you keep on moving. I do have friends who are extremely good, and they are like a hot cake.
Yeah.
Every industry, every organization wants to get them.
But can you generalize? How many of them? Like we have them in the society. I mean, I'm not saying.
Ahmed, let us take it practically.
Yeah.
If you're a bad employee, would you be employed in another organization? That other organization will call your first organization and ask, how's Ahmed? And say he's a terrible employee, so don't employ him.
Yeah.
I think we have a call. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, wa alaikum salam.
How are you?
I'm fine. Assalamu alaikum. How are you guys?
Fine, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Who is this?
My name is Asma.
Asma.
Yeah.
Yes, Asma.
Go ahead, Asma.
So basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk first of all about the experienced people. I do agree that sometimes when you have an organization, it's easier for you to actually take someone who is not employed, like fresh graduates.
Yes.
But then I noticed that it's not only the fresh graduates who are having a problem. Even the experienced people have a problem. I'll talk about someone I know.
Yes.
Basically, it's my sister. She has 2 diplomas. She has a degree, and she's working on her master's right now. And wherever she goes and apply for a job, she always gets the same answer, which is that she's overqualified. Okay, and as you said, they're not even giving her a choice of accepting what they're going to offer or not. Because they immediately say that she's overqualified. I understand where they're coming from. Because if you employ someone who is overqualified for a job, then the chances of that person getting bored from that job or wanting to move higher would
be higher.
Put the organization in a bad situation.
Yes.
In the coming future. But then they should also put in mind that sometimes what's going on is that maybe the current organization where she's working, she is stuck at a level in which she cannot go higher, and then she is overqualified for where she is right now, and the only thing she needs is a change. Because when you work to get you're studying and you're working for your degree or your master's, then if what you're doing right now does not help you get the experience, because studying is one thing and getting the experience is something else. I study and I'm working, and when I look at the organization I'm working in right now, I cannot compare it to what I'm studying. What the books say is something else, and what's actually happening, it's totally something else.
Yes.
Like I'm working on my diploma right now, and I want to specialize my degree in, for example, marketing. And my father is trying to push me to specialize in HR. But then what I'm telling him is what I see the situation of the HR in Oman right now is totally different than what I'm studying. What I'm studying is really good.
Yeah.
But what's really happening is not what I would like to be doing for the rest of my life. So I really think that fresh graduates, yes, they should be given a chance, but also they should give a chance for experienced people. Because the only reason we're gaining experience is for us to be more qualified to the job. Because what happens is that, yes, we have the education to support, but we also have the experience, so we're ready. But then we're not given a chance anyways.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, so it's heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Very valid point, sister. And that's why we're having this show today to speak up and discuss about these issues. Maybe someone out there would hear and would echo the message.
I really hope that someone who can make a change is listening, because you don't only have fresh graduates with qualifications sitting at home doing nothing. You also have experienced and qualified people sitting in a job where they can perform more. So I think the whole issue is putting the right person in the right place, and we're not doing that right now.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you very much, sister.
Thank you so much, Asma.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think
we would like to remind our listeners that they can always join the discussion with us. Our numbers are 24602058, 24602058, and the topic of today is qualification versus experience in the workplace. And this episode of today is dedicated to all the employees and employers out there with this hot topic that is of a concern for everyone. So we'll take a short break, and then after the break we'll go through the other points that we wanted to discuss.
Lulu BMW Dream Drive. This season, luxury awaits you at Lulu. Shop and win 6 BMW X5 35i and other fabulous prizes. With every purchase of 10 Riyals, get a chance to win up to 6 BMW X5 35i and 30 Icon products like 48-inch LED TVs, top-load automatic washing machines, air coolers, halogen air fryers, tablets and lots more. Shop at Lulu today and stand to drive home your dream. Promotion valid till 5th August 2015. Lulu, where the world comes to shop.
Let us take you on a spiritual journey through our voice this Ramadan in Life as It Is. Explore opportunities and tranquility with the young voices of tomorrow on the Nation Station 90.4 FM from Saturday to Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Engineer Muhammad Farouk, Janab Al-Saida, Maya Al-Said, Ahmed Al-Matani, and Hatem Al-Abdussalam. Call us on 246-02058 or text us at 90406 to explore your potentials like never before. This Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
This is Hatem Al-Abdussalam. Joining me is my brother Ahmed Al-Matani, and this is our program Life as It Is, and today we're talking about the hot topic, which is qualification versus experience. And I think we have another call. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brothers.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
This is Sharifuddin with you.
Sharifuddin, how are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
How is Ramadan?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
MashaAllah.
Tell us, Sharifuddin.
Regarding the topic today.
Yes.
I was listening to some speaker saying regarding overqualified and they were rejected.
Yes.
What I feel is when they are called for the interview, at that moment they had no idea about the person, right?
Yes.
So once they are called in, the employee is not satisfied with the appearance, first impressions he didn't like. So now what he does is to get rid of the person, he will say, you are overqualified. These are wrong, ethically a wrong thing they do.
Yes.
But they don't like the person because most of the people when they apply, their picture is one thing. When you see personally, they are something else.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
So the first impression is not what he is looking for. So he says he has to give an excuse now. If the person was overqualified, he should have called that person, right, in the first place. But after coming for the interview, the first impression he gets is this person is not suitable. So he will say you're overqualified.
You know, brother, I would rather someone tells me that, sorry, you did not get the job, someone else got it, than giving me an excuse like you're overqualified.
Yeah, so that is also an excuse. No, he's giving an excuse. Simple as that. He has no one in mind. If he got somebody, why is he interviewing the next person?
Yeah, and the strange thing is sometimes you go for an interview and the interview lasts only for 3 minutes, and they make an impression and a decision that you are no longer capable to do the job in these 3 minutes. So I think there's a lot of things that go into this.
Yes, it depends on the person who is interviewing you also, no?
Yes.
How honest he is, and is he the final employer or he is the agent for the employer?
Yes.
So there are so many things taken into consideration.
Yes. Thank you very much, brother, for your input. Thank you.
Have a nice.
And I think thank you, brother. I think here is a very interesting point, which is using it as an excuse in order to get rid of the guy. Yes. And I think sometimes this happens, when the employer or the person who's conducting the interview feels threatened, with the idea of hiring such a person.
Yes.
Maybe say, this guy seems to be with a lot of potentials. He might replace me, so let me get rid of him. From the beginning, instead of, hiring somebody to develop the institution. And of course, like you as an employer or a person who's interviewing that person, you should think about, the next stage. Yes. You should not remain in that particular seat or that position, but you have to think about, moving to a higher rank or a higher position in that institution. But unfortunately, we have a lot of people who have this sick mentality that, if somebody who's really qualified and with a lot of potentials,
he's going to take over my position.
Yes, so we have to get rid of that person.
And the caller, he said another very important point is transparency and honesty. Yeah, you need to be ethical. You need to be transparent with people.
Yeah,
you don't need to deceive people. I remember when I graduated from school, high school, I applied for a job at the air traffic control. And when I applied my CV, it clearly says that I am from Muscat, and I'm as a resident of Muscat. And they let me go through the test. I did like 4 tests. I passed them. I passed the interview, and at the end they told me, sorry, the position is for Salalah based. So I said, but you knew from the beginning that I was from Muscat, and you did not, tell me from the beginning. I had to go through all the tests and all the interviews, and at the end you're telling me that...
And I passed maybe.
And I told them, even if the job is in Salalah, I don't mind going to Salalah. They said, no, you can't go to Salalah.
Priority is given to those people who are staying there.
So I don't understand. Again, we're coming back to the transparency, professionalism.
Yes.
Some of the people who are interviewing you, or some of the people in the position to recruit, I don't think they have the right skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you enter an interview and they ask you silly questions like you just want to slap the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah?
I mean, some of them, they say just to want to see if you get irritated, easily, but still
Ahmed,
does not justify that.
I don't know if you noticed that most of the time when you go to the interview, they don't read your CV.
Yes.
You have worked so hard, you prepared this very nice CV, it has all your information. And they ask you questions like, so, what is your previous company? It is written there, very, very clear on your CV. He could have just read it on your CV, but instead he's asking you questions that are already been answered.
Yeah, I mean, this is also like another thing. But some people might argue saying that maybe we want to check whether you wrote the CV or somebody else. So sometimes, they have some checking questions. But the question is, if we have a very good system from the beginning, filtering, the right applicants, for the job.
Yes.
We would not, have such situations. I would not call you if you're not the right person for the job in terms of the specifications, that, I put, for the job. If you said, for example, this job is for people who are working in a certain place and you are not from there, I should not be called in the first place for that interview.
Yeah.
Okay? So we have a problem even with the way we filter and choose, the CVs or the candidates, for the job.
Sometimes you feel that it's just a process.
It's a process.
To get it done, but they have already chosen whom they want, and It's just a process.
And it's funny sometimes, like in some companies, they have, like the system, how many people you've interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And based on that, you get a promotion and so on. So the more, okay, the better for you.
But
I was surprised,
you're wasting the time of other people.
Yeah. But like if in my context, they require me to interview a lot of people. And the more I interview, the more money or commissions I will get. I was surprised to know that, I was told about this in some places.
Now, Ahmed, let us talk about the education system. Does the current education system prepare you for the reality of the job?
That's one important issue, and this is one of the claims that a lot of employers have about a lot of graduates, that they are not ready for the market. And if we look deeply into the education system that we have here in Oman, okay, we still have some issues actually when it comes to preparing our graduates to be ready for the job. I'm not saying on all the places, but we still have a problem in our education system. I'll give you an example. Okay, the idea of theory, not to practice, okay, is one problem that we are facing, till now. A lot of professors, unfortunately, that we have, they focus on theory, and they have no clue about the reality. Okay, they don't know what's happening in the real market. Okay,
yes.
As a result, they tend to teach students things which are not related to what's happening in their life. And of course, you have to understand the context, the local context, the international context. What could work in America might not work here in Oman.
Yes.
So you have to be familiar with the local context. Unfortunately, they just teach you theories, okay, which could be really shockingly unpreparing, these graduates for the reality.
And when they are employed, the employer is frustrated.
Exactly.
Because he expected something and then he gets something else.
Yes, and who's paying the price for that? Who's victimized in this case?
The graduates.
The graduates, okay? We have to really look into a lot of our curriculum, okay, and the study plans for a lot of courses that we have. There should be a lot of practice, a lot of, relationship between what's happening actually in a real world and what's happening in the university and schools. And this will not happen unless we involve people from the industry,
yes,
okay, into developing the curriculum. And in fact, in some universities outside, what they do, there will be certain sessions throughout the semesters where somebody from the industry will come and give a lecture or a practical session to tell them, for example, look, when you go to the real world, you will face this and this and that. And this is true. This is what you have learned in the lecture, last week.
Yes.
And so they will tell them from the beginning that this is connected, and they will see the value of what they're learning. Now, a lot of graduates, sometimes might not see the value of what they're learning.
Yes.
And they just want to pass. They just want to, go to college, get a degree, get high scores, and that's it. But are they really ready for the market, for the workplace? This is a question. I interview a lot of people, actually. I've been, in the field for so many years. And when I interview some people, I sometimes feel, sorry for a lot of graduates, because sometimes they mimic statements which are not related actually to the context. And, they memorize a lot of these statements, that the teachers, used to tell them in the class.
Yes.
But when you ask them a simple question, for example, how this could be related to Oman, they just keep quiet. Why? Because they don't know the relationship. And I guess, when I ask them, did you study this? Did you try to relate this to the Omani context? They say, we never had a chance, actually, to learn about this. All what we were told that, in America, in Canada, in UK, and so on, and this is the best of practice. I'm not saying they are wrong practices, but sometimes we have to respect the local context. And we have to be realistic when it comes to our needs and our conditions and our requirements here in the country.
Ahmed, many employers would argue differently.
Mm-hmm.
They would say that many graduates are spoon-fed.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe in the past these employers were also going through the same education system, which has nothing to do with the local community. Maybe they studied abroad, for example, but they went an extra mile. They went and found out more. They researched more. They tried to learn. Even when you come to the workplace, you have just been recruited, and you found that things are different. Then you go an extra mile and try and find out more.
Correct.
And ask people, go and mingle with the people who are experienced. Try and learn. But most of the time, that's not the case with the graduates.
But this is also back. I would put, some of the blame on the graduates because they have to create also their own chances to learn outside that context of the classroom. But at the same time, we need also to facilitate the process by creating an environment, for them to learn. Now, in order to have somebody who
What do you mean an environment to learn? Like what?
Like the teachers, for example. If the teacher comes to the class every day and said, look, what we're going to learn in the class is not enough. What you need to do is to go and read more about this. So there will be a culture inside the classroom and inside in that institution. And that will develop them to seek knowledge beyond the context of the classroom.
Let me ask you, Ahmed. You have been educated in the United States. Does this happen there?
Yes.
How does it happen?
I'll tell you. The teacher, first of all, will tell us, look, we have a very limited time to study certain things. Okay, we have also certain materials to cover. But the materials that we're going to cover will not give you to the acceptable sometimes level of getting, a job, after the graduation. So if you stop here, you'll be a regular person. If you want to be distinguished, and also you want to be, somebody who is really appealing to a lot of employers, you need to add more to that plate. If you don't have that, then you will have a lot of issues. It doesn't mean that you will not get a job, but also at the same time,
the way I see it, Ahmed, it's personal.
It is a personal thing
from the lecturer or the professor.
Yeah,
it's a personal thing that he informs you this information.
Yeah.
So this can also be done in our universities if the professors take an extra mile.
Yeah.
Don't you agree in that?
But look, the problem. Yeah.
Okay,
we have a call. Okay.
We have our first guest for today, Mr. Majid Al-Sulaimani, who is an author. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Mr. Majid, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm okay. Shukran.
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan bkhair.
Wanta bkhair. Mr. Majid, you are an author of many books that are about management and management style, and you are experienced in this area. Today we're talking about qualification versus experience. So what is your input about this topic, Mr. Majid?
Yeah, actually I have written 6 books on Arab management, and there is one, my last book, there is one full chapter about issues about experiences versus qualified people.
Yes.
And what the chapter is titled Chicken or Egg Story.
Which comes first?
What I was trying to say that you need to get a job first before you can get experience. And at the same time, nowadays a lot of highly qualified human resources guys are coming, ladies and guys are coming back with not only with masters, but with doctorates, PhDs in human resources, PhDs in management, PhDs in international relations, so they are really, really highly qualified. And unfortunately, a lot of our guys in HR, majority of them work through experience, they rose through experience. Started with clerks, PROs, then senior PRO, administration officer, administration manager, human resources. So these guys have a lot of experience, but unfortunately they don't have that much, qualification.
Yes.
On an average, I would put them at roughly maybe a diploma, CIPD or HND. So there is already, natural, clash between the two. So my own outlook is that by experience is very important, and education also is very important. So you cannot discount one and against the other. my own view is that both people should work together. You know, I mean, they should respect each other. The guy who's got a very high qualification, if he comes into the department and starts ordering people, I am telling you to do this, I'm telling you to do that, and say something which is not ethical or professional or even legal, then there could be issues.
Do you think that some experienced people who are not qualified, they get penalized for not having that qualification? They might be capable, they might be experienced in many years, they can perform the job better than the qualified people, but still they are penalized by the organization for not having that piece of paper.
Many cases, so many cases. Even in the oil and gas sector, which is supposed to be more progressive compared to the other sectors, you have a lot of these guys who have a lot of experience and highly experienced. You know,
yes.
Even if you go on in the basis of the army, you know, sometimes in wars, a sergeant takes over the command. You know why? Because he has a lot of experience compared to the officer. You know?
Yes, yes.
So this situation is very good, is becoming more difficult. My feeling is that HR, being the conscious keeper, both of them have to work together for the interest of the company.
Yeah.
Mr. Majid, many times you find
for the establishment.
You find policies from the HR department for staff that they need to be qualified. They need to get a qualification to be able to develop, while themselves they might not have that qualification, and this is very frustrating for many employees.
Yeah.
So the way forward, Mr. Majid, what do you think the solution of this dilemma?
The problem is, to be honest with you, a lot of these establishments run, especially this private sector, many of these companies are run by expatriates, you know.
Yes.
And they always view HR as a headache, you know. So they always try to put some guy there who is, what do you call it? He's more adaptive. He's more
easily led.
I would put it the word yes person.
Yes.
So whatever he's told to
easily
do,
led,
he's going to do it. So the management and the establishment of the companies, they need to realize that human resources is not just renewing labor card, visa, or giving accommodation to staff, or giving transport, or buying stationery or things. It is more than that. It is like I said, the HR is a conscious keeper. And it is also compounded by, this chemistry, favoritism. Some bosses, they push their staff. Some bosses, they don't push their staff. So you have one person who is working in one department, another person who is working in another department. The other department guy has got a good boss who pushes him. I mean, maybe he even sends him for further training. He comes back. The other guy is still there. You know, I mean, he has not gone out. He's still in the establishment. So when this guy comes back, and if misfortune, they are put in one department, then guy becomes his boss. And he says, this guy, we were together, you know, so maybe I was even senior to him. But now, he comes back, he becomes more senior. You know, so it is a very difficult area in HR. Very difficult.
Thank you very much, Mr. Majid, for your input. And would like to have more of your time, but the show is very short.
One thing only.
Yes.
I think both these people, whether he is highly qualified or the real experienced guys, both these two have to work together to the interest of the
institution, the establishment. Yeah.
Inshallah. Shukran, Mr. Majid. Shukran, Jazakallah khair.
Yeah. I would agree absolutely with everything that he was saying, and this is what we need to have. We need to have an open-minded, personality. The idea of accepting, other people's views, opinions and so on. I don't feel that threatened by that somebody has more qualification than I am. Okay, but since we work here to serve this institution, that we have to work together in order to bring, the name of that institution together.
But
and the credit will go to both of us actually.
Yeah.
And in fact, maybe you never know. Sometimes what happens is when people see that you work in harmony with other people, the people who are in charge might give you another chance to go to your education, or to sponsor you, or to finish your degree.
Yeah.
Okay, at your own pace. Okay, it might, you might be very busy and so on, but they will encourage you to go back to school in order to even get promoted, much faster, and, to other positions. So I think, we need to stop this, mentality that, he will take my job, he will take, my position, okay, and we have to stop people, from moving, from that thing, or we try to push that person down in order not to have, a better promotion in that particular institution.
Mr. Majid said something very important, that the HR has to play the role as like the caretaker for the employees.
Correct.
And unfortunately, in many cases, that is not what is
the
happening.
Case, yeah.
Yeah. In the past, when you talk to people, they say that we have grudge against auditors. Yeah. But today the formula has changed.
Correct.
They're in love with auditors, but they have grudge with another group.
Yeah.
It's called HR.
Yeah.
So, yes, there should be respect among people. There should always be that level of respect and cooperation.
Yeah.
To reach the goals of the organization. But the most dangerous part is when the organization favors one team over the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the organization, for example, it has a CEO that is pro qualification. So he would
definitely
he would highlight and focus towards the people who have qualification and ignore totally the people who have the experience. Or the other way around.
Yeah. But, the question is what he is doing, about, these people who don't have qualifications. Is he creating, chances for them to develop? Or just, watching them, the way they are and let them, just stay where they are?
Again, Ahmed, this is a very thin line when you talk about giving people the opportunity to develop. For example, I know one of the organizations, for example, you have a graduate who is 21 years old. He just graduated and joined the organization.
Okay.
And then you have someone who is almost 50, spent 30 years of his life in this organization experience. And then you come to them and you say the policy is as follows. You have like a skill pool, and both of you have to do a certain qualification, and whoever passes, he will be promoted. Now, in terms of capabilities, for a person who is young, who is a fresh graduate, who just came from university, and someone who has, a lot of experience, might be a bit slow at this age, might be, it's been a long time that he has not went to college or university. You cannot compare the two.
Yeah.
You cannot have one parameter for both of them.
Yes,
you
correct.
should have a scheme for this category of people and have another scheme for this category of people. But what happens now is the graduate, they accelerate very fast in that, let's say, professional qualification, and then they end up being the boss of the person who has 30 years of experience. And then frustration is developed in an organization. And then there's no more efficiency. There's no more productivity. You find people coming to work just to read newspaper and go back home. And these people, you could have made use of their experience, and you actually need them. Then comes the high employment turnover. People leave the organization. You lose good people. You lose people who are reliable, people who started the organization in the first place, who are running the show. So I think it's
yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what you have just said. But at the same time, Hatem, let's look at this, from another perspective.
Yes.
Okay, or from another angle. Those people who have just graduated with the qualifications, also I have to see whether they're performing well or not. Yeah?
Yes.
It's not because, they have the qualifications and I have to get them promoted. Well, even those who have qualifications, you might have 2 employees, in your institution with the same kind of qualifications, but they don't perform the same way.
That's right.
So if we just, look at it, from the qualification perspective, then, we will be, unjust, to the people who are working really hard. Another way to look at it, when you were talking about the age, there are a lot of now short courses, okay, which are enough, okay, for these experienced people that will help them, get, updated with what's happening in the world and so on. Yeah. Because sometimes, your experience could be only focused on something, could work only 10 years, 15 years back, but not, up to date.
Yes.
So we can also create, like we say, okay, maybe he cannot go for a 4-year degree program.
Yes.
What we can do is we can send that person for a short course, very practical, to get that person developed and so on. And then we equalize, even, and sometimes not even equalize, maybe we can put this person with a lot of experience in a very good, position because of the experience and because of the interest and the attitude to learn. Because you cannot stop learning. You have to continue learning, and this is the attitude that, we should have with a lot of our employees, in any institution. You want to seek knowledge, you want to develop yourself and so on. And in fact, in a lot of successful institutions, they have something called, self-appraisal form.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. That talks about, what exactly you want to do. What are your objectives? Okay, and there's one section that talks about what? The training, the workshop, the seminars, yes, the courses plan that you want to do. So those people who did not have the chance before to go to colleges or to go for training, they still have a chance.
But the thing is, Ahmed, I want to come back to the same point again, is that these end up being only procedures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you might fill up the form.
Yeah.
It becomes a routine.
A
procedure that you do every year.
Yeah.
And then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might
unfortunately,
you might even with someone who is experienced, you might go for the short courses that you mentioned. But when you come back to present it to your employer, he says, no, I want a degree. I don't want a short professional course. So, there should always be a balance when it comes to qualifications and experience. One should not be better than the other.
Correct.
Yeah, they should be the same. They should be as per the requirement.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I feel pity sometimes for the graduate when the organization, for example, they want to employ a bulk of graduates just to reach, let's say, for the Omanization
level and so on.
So you employ people not having positions for them, not having the right job. You keep them idle, and then they don't develop, and then they don't get promoted. Then you see that frustration
exactly
in workplace. So you have to employ people for the right reasons, and give them the chance to
learn and to develop. And let's go back to the idea of our education system, because we were talking about. Do we have a break?
Yes, we have a break. We have a break now.
Okay,
yes,
sure.
Want to win a car with all the features you ever wanted? The Geely M Grand 7 with a 1.8-litre automatic engine can be yours. Just WhatsApp your name, location, and say that one thing you like the most about Geely, and you could become the lucky winner to own one. Send us your reply on WhatsApp at 9440666 today. Anyone could win a Geely M Grand 7 this Ramadan. Terms and conditions apply.
Fly Emirates to 17 destinations across the Far East and as many as 38 European destinations in our ever-expanding network. Be there for some truly inspiring experiences. To find out more, visit emirates.com/OM. Fly Emirates. Hello tomorrow.
Lulu BMW Dream Drive. This season, luxury awaits you at Lulu. Shop and win 6 BMW X5 35i and other fabulous prizes. With every purchase of 10 Riyals, get a chance to win up to 6 BMW X5 35i and 30 Icon products like 48-inch LED TVs, top-load automatic washing machines, air coolers, halogen air fryers, tablets and lots more. Shop at Lulu today and stand to drive home your dream. Promotion valid till 5th August 2015. Lulu, where the world comes to shop.
Let us take you on a spiritual journey through our voice this Ramadan in Life as It Is. Explore opportunities and tranquility with the young voices of tomorrow on the Nation Station 90.4 FM from Saturday to Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Engineer Muhammad Farouk, Janab Al-Saida, Maya Al-Said, Ahmed Al-Matani, and Hatem Al-Abdussalam. Call us on 246-02058 or text us at 90406 to explore your potentials like never before. This Ramadan, here on the Nation Station
This is Life as It Is with me, Hatem Al-Absalam, and my dear brother Ahmed Al-Mata'ani, and today we're discussing qualification versus experience. We went through a lot of points of discussion, but we stopped at education. Ahmed, you wanted to say something?
Yeah.
Before you say that, I just wanted to remind our listeners they can always call in and tell us what they think through our number 24602058. 24602058.
Yeah, we were talking about, whether the education system in one country is different from another,
Mm-hmm.
And you were giving an example of the American context or the Western in general. And I think, the problem is that here, maybe in a lot of Arab countries, they are only individual initiatives by certain people.
Yes.
But, in some big universities in the West, what happens is that the system itself promotes, for the idea. So you might find the exceptions with the professors not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? For example, here in the Arab context, what happens is that you might find individual teachers, few of them, who will try to do this at a personal level, as you said at the beginning.
Yes.
But in big universities in the West, what happens is that, most of the teachers would encourage people to go beyond the context of, of what they are studying. So they will encourage people to read and develop their knowledge and so on. So you see, when you have a system that really promotes, this idea of learning more, going beyond, the context, developing yourself, okay? That will help a lot of people to adopt the idea of learning beyond the context of their studying. So this is what I'm trying to say.
But I still say that it goes back to the individual.
Yes.
You find students or graduates from the same class,
mm-hmm.
but you can distinguish one from another.
Correct.
One is extremely good,
mm-hmm.
and one is a useless case.
Correct.
So it depends on the person.
This is why
Again,
this is what we said. We need to put some of the blame on the graduates for not taking initiatives to learn beyond that. Okay. At the same time, okay, if you have a system and you have a personal interest, that will double the chance of having a graduate or a candidate who has more knowledge and ready for the market. And we need to also to come back to the idea of theory and practice. Okay. Are our teachers actually in colleges and universities, okay, qualified to really give us the chance to understand what's happening in the real world? That's a very important question that we have to raise. Unfortunately, if you ask, some of the professors, and I don't want to generalize, if you ask them a simple question about what's happening nowadays, for example, in that particular subject, they might not be able to answer you that question. Why? Because they studied this a long time ago, and they want to preach it, the way it is, without any change. While a very good professor would go and try to see what's happening now, around us, what is being updated, when it comes to this field, okay, and why we need to do this, why we need to learn this, okay, that will give, the students the chance to see the connection between what's happening in the school and what's happening in real world, okay. And also, there's one thing that, we tend to lack when it comes to our education system. The idea of developing, skills. We tend to focus on knowledge and information, just, as you said, fed spawn, to these, graduates. But do we focus on skills?
Maybe some professions, they have what you're talking about is the skills, like the medical school or the engineering school.
Yes.
But the other colleges, I think,
they focus more. Yes.
They only focus on the theory.
Theory, yeah. Which is not, the reality actually. The reality requires, more skills. Now, I was reading an article. They were talking about, who could be a very good candidate for any job. Usually, somebody who has a degree. We're talking about those who have a degree. Somebody who's very good in communication. They were asking, those top managers. And they said, communication represents 51% of the whole process of choosing that candidate. Can you imagine? 51%. Time management. Okay. There comes, the second list. Ability to work within the team. These are skills that, our education system sometimes does not emphasize. Also, the idea of becoming, motivated and independent in your thought and your ideas. And also, computer skills are required. And the last thing is the ability to work with different environments, and different, contexts. You see, these are sometimes the skills that, we don't see in a lot of educational systems here in this area. I'm not saying that, we don't have them at all, but we need to make the connection, between the skills, between what's happening in real life, and of course, what, books and authors, are saying about, that particular field.
Now, when it comes to the group of experienced people, mm-hmm. who are very frustrated.
Yes.
They've been working for many years.
Mm-hmm.
They have not achieved their qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
Let us go back a little bit and see that there must have been chances for them to be qualified
mm-hmm.
earlier.
Yes.
But maybe at that time the qualification was not so important.
Yes.
So it's never too late.
Correct. Never too late for education. Too late.
And there are practical examples of people who have changed their own condition. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not change the status of a nation until they change what is within themselves.
Exactly.
So the change has to start from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Being frustrated, doing nothing about it, will not change.
Correct.
You will always be the same person.
Yes.
But you have to be proactive and think outside the box,
yeah.
and go and have a plan of what are you going to do.
Yes.
What actually do you want out
mm-hmm.
of this world?
Mm-hmm.
And there are other options that you can take. I know in the West they have this honorary degree for experienced people.
Correct.
So you would go, you have like 20, 30 years of experience. You would go and you would be interviewed.
Yes.
On the field that you're working in, and if they find you capable and knowledgeable
about that,
you will be awarded a degree.
Exactly.
And I think Oman should also introduce this.
Yes.
They should have institutions where they can independently evaluate people's knowledge.
Yes.
In a particular area.
Mm-hmm.
So if experienced people say that they have the knowledge in this area, they should be able to be evaluated. And given their right, or given awarded this degree, so that they can carry on.
Exactly. And this is back to the idea, first of all, the value of qualifications. I really like this concept. The honorary degrees, given to people who have a lot of experience. But at the same time, you said it at the beginning, sometimes we might have qualification, but in reality it's only a piece of paper.
A piece of paper.
Okay.
And if you look, Ahmed, in the past, we did not have this qualification. It did not exist. And now the rat race out there is not to seek knowledge, is to get that piece of paper.
Exactly.
And this is the one that is creating a problem. Even if we have the best education system, the best institution, but if the students are only aiming to get that piece of paper, no matter what it takes, just to get the job, then you get a very low quality of graduates introduced into the organization.
Yeah.
You find people now copying their assignments from
cheating.
one another.
Yeah, plagiarism is an issue.
So this does not achieve the goal of the institution. You as a person, if you don't know how to perform a particular task or to do an assignment, and then you pass, you are surprised. You are really surprised sometimes, Ahmed, to find people, degree holders, and they don't know even how to write.
Yeah.
And you wonder, how did you pass your exams? How did you pass your exams? And your dignity, doesn't it hurt you that you call yourself qualified and you don't deserve it in the first place?
Well, a lot of people will just put the blame on the institution. They will just tell you this is what they were teaching us, and if you have a question, go and talk to them about it. And this is back to the idea, are we really checking, upon the quality of education, these institutions offering to our kids, brothers and sisters, to the community, because we suffer from this.
Ahmed, I remember when I was a student in Malaysia, it was a private college, And the policy of the college was, we won't pass. We won't pass. We don't care how you get the pass.
Yeah.
You have to pass, and you have to earn that pass. And the moment you fail, they tell you, please leave this college.
Yeah.
Even though you're a customer, you're paying.
Yeah.
They say no. We want quality students. We want people who are serious about studying. And if we do the same system here, we are strict in the content. We are strict in the evaluation of these students. We'll get high quality of students.
Exactly.
But if the system is lenient, okay, so the lecturer marks the paper. He sees 2 identical papers and said, well, that's the system.
Yeah.
I'll just pass.
I don't want to have this headache with the students complaining about me and so on. I experienced this kind of situation once, where we had a student, we had a student who was, coming to a private institution, and she was very angry that she was very angry that that she did not get what she wanted, in terms of grades and so on.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, she came talking to the top management about it, and she said, look, I'm paying money here. Okay, you have to make sure that I get what I want, because this, at the end of the day, this is a private institution. If you don't do what I want, okay, I'm gonna leave. You see, they think it's just buying tomato or mango from the market. If you don't like it, you just throw it or whatever. This is something to do with the future of this country. You graduate people with not the right degrees. This is a crime. Actually,
it is a crime.
It is a crime.
Indeed, it's a crime.
I mean, it's sad. We have people who think that because they pay money, they can get a piece of paper or they can get a degree. That's really scary.
Plus the cases, the hundreds of cases that were caught by the Ministry of Higher Education of people working for many years with qualification, and then they turned up to be fake qualifications.
Yeah.
So it's out there everywhere.
Yeah, it's really sad, and I don't know. I think we need to have a very strict policy when it comes to checking, the quality of education in these institutions. Otherwise, we'll pay the price later on with people who just graduate from school. This is the image of the country. If we don't, do the right, procedure to stop this institution from just graduating people with the wrong qualifications, then this will be the scandal of the century, I would call it. And then we complain that these people graduate from the colleges and university and they don't get job. Actually, they're not ready.
Yes.
They're not ready.
I just wanted to remind our listeners that they can call us on 24602058, 24602058, and the topic of today is qualification versus experience. I just wanted to talk about a different segment, Ahmed. These are a group of people who are qualified. They have their degrees in a particular profession.
Correct.
But whenever they go to the market, they say that this type of profession we don't require. We don't need it. So they end up finding jobs which has nothing to do with their qualification. And then when they are employed as unqualified. So they don't have experience and they don't have a qualification. And this segment really suffers.
Correct.
How can we solve this problem, Ahmed?
Definitely, first of all, whenever we create any major, okay, I don't think that there's a major in this part of the world or anywhere around us, all over the place, all over the world. There's a major that does not or is not needed in a particular subject or in a particular sector, I mean. Okay, I don't buy this. Okay, that you study something and then you don't find a place to work for.
I can give you examples, Ahmed. I have friends who are graduates from the agricultural college and they end up working in the desert because they couldn't find jobs. There might be jobs out there, but they're very limited. They don't cover the amount of students who are graduating from that particular field. Or you have the people who are studying drama. Yeah, they graduate. You have 10,000 people graduated in drama, and then where would they work? What would they do?
This is back to the idea of planning. When you plan from the beginning that you need this number of people, okay, for this particular subject, then you should like not allow this college or this institution to take more than that. Or we have to look at from another perspective. We need to prepare graduates not to work only for Oman, but even in the neighboring countries, because these people also would be ambassadors for Oman, when they go outside.
Yes.
You cannot guarantee everybody, a job, okay? You can start your own business. This is why, there are a lot of emphasis nowadays on the idea of entrepreneurship, okay? Because they want people to start their own businesses, their own, ideas when it comes to implementing them in the market. So I don't think that, there is a reason for these people to be frustrated, yeah.
Okay, we have our second guest for today, Dr. Salim Riyami. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Salim. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Hatim. How are you?
Fine, Dr. Salim. How are you?
Alaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Hatim.
Naam.
Just give me a second.
Okay.
And I'll just put something inside the car. Are we in the air now or what?
Yes, we're on air.
Okay, just bear with me a second, please. Huh?
Okay.
That's okay.
Well, maybe we should just talk a little bit, till Dr. Riyami, gets ready.
Okay.
Like we were talking about the idea that, a lot of the graduates, not have a chance to gain experience while they're studying.
Mm-hmm.
But, there are so many chances that, graduates can, benefit, and gain experience while they are studying. Like, the idea of internships.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of institutions, introduce the concept of internships. That internship, will give, the graduates a chance to gain a practical experience. There are a lot of, part-time jobs, available for a lot of people. For example, in my institution, I always talk to my students to go and apply for a part-time job. A lot of people think that, there's a chance of getting a job might not be as effective or beneficial as it should be. But, just having the chance to work with people, interact.
You get an idea.
You get an idea about, the environment of work, job ethics and so many things, okay? And a lot of employers will value that. Don't underestimate, the experience that you might gain from these kind of, small jobs.
Small jobs.
And this is why, like in the West, for example, you find somebody who's working and studying at the same time. You find them working in restaurants, in cafeterias, like in the library, okay, so many places. Because people value what? Working. More than, just, going to college and so on.
Dr. Salim, are you with us? Hello? I think we lost Dr. Salim.
Yeah. So I think, we need to change the
Do you think this can be introduced in Oman?
Yes. I mean, why not? I mean, if there are chances, available, these should be really introduced,
Okay, we have Dr. Salim on the line. Salam alaikum, Dr. Salim.
Hi, Hatim. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I would like to apologize for what happened.
No worries.
I was just busy somewhere, and you got me there on the line straight.
No worries, Dr. Salim. Dr. Salim, mashallah, you are a PhD holder in human resource, and you're very experienced in this area.
Yes,
and
I have a doctorate degree in human resource, and I've done earlier my master's as well in human resources.
Alhamdulillah. So, Dr. Salim, today we're talking about a very hot debate about the people who have qualification versus the people who have experience. I think you have come across this and you have articles about this as well. Can you share with us your thoughts about this, Dr. Salim?
Yeah, indeed. Actually, I wrote an article earlier in Oman Observer, about qualification-based experience, and actually whether one is favorable than the other, or they can alternate, or they complement each other, or how it goes. But from my experience, I would talk first from an academic point of view. I mean, qualification in terms of qualification is actually really important, and nowadays in modern life, it's become a must as having a degree to qualify you to enter the job you want and the level of position you actually require for. That is some companies, if you see, they actually demand and require that you have a specific qualification or certification that qualify you for the job.
Yes.
On the other hand, nevertheless, is the experience also, because some people will tell you without the experience, that would be, this is just a paper that you have and hold, but you don't have the practice and competences required for that job.
Yes.
You gain it by experience. So, and you've seen, I don't know how far, you know about the topic, but you've seen a lot of companies will have a kind of like a job metric, or
yes.
That includes both qualification and experience. For example, they require for a position to have, let's say, a minimum of 5 years plus a bachelor degree or a diploma degree, depending on what position is that. So here you can see that both qualification and experience are there.
Yes.
And what's really ironic is that when people graduate from the university, they actually get trained by small operators or even foremen who basically have just secondary school or even a small diploma, but they of course
they have
10 years or 15 years experience.
Yes.
So you can see the value here between the qualification and experience. I said qualification is a must, but also experience is very much highly required, especially if you're working in an industrial area where you have to have the competencies required for each position in the industry.
Yes.
Unlike, if you're working in a management consultancy or a research consultancy, then the agenda will be different, because you obviously require more knowledge and theories than practice, I believe. And it varies from one sector to another as well. And how the culture, also the organization culture or the corporate culture of the organization play a role there. Some people will value very much qualification and compromise a bit with the experience, because they say that this guy is qualified, having a master, is easy to grasp the knowledge and the competency required for it. People prefer also on the other side experience, and they say without experience and without having practice, because learning by experience is another concept that is also going on in the industry. So that's, I think, my opinion regarding qualification-based experience. I would say both, in my opinion, both should complement each other. That's the ideal scenario.
I have another question for you, Dr. Salem. When both of them are on the job now when you come to evaluate both of them, and the requirement is the same. So, for example, the requirement is a skill pool where they have to go through a professional qualification, and then whoever achieves that qualification, they can get promoted. Now, for someone who has been working like for 30 years or 25 years, is not so fast in learning, like a graduate, for example. Yeah, and so both of them achieve the qualification, and they become both of them at the same grade. So there is a frustration there, where the person who is experienced would say that I spent half of my life serving this organization, and at the end of the day, I'm at the same level with this graduate, or even maybe he's higher than me. He's my boss.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's Hatem. It's that's why I say this issue is a bit controversial. But however, you see, in any organization that there is something called the job metrics, as I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And there is also the job evaluation.
Yeah.
The higher you go to the job, the qualification is coming a must. Like you are specialized, let's say, in human resources or in IT or in engineering and other applied sciences. There are certain qualifications that you have to acquire. Otherwise, you will not reach that grade required for that position. Nevertheless, you have the experience indeed, but that qualification is becoming a must. If you know what I mean. I know this sounds, okay, I have the experience, maybe I can be like the guy who have that qualification, but that's why I said it has to complement each other. You cannot separate qualification and say qualification is more than enough for me to get higher posts. And at the same time, you cannot ignore the experience and saying, you cannot depend only on experience and saying that experience will get me promoted till the higher qualification. I mean, I have a lot of colleagues and examples who are secondary school and they worked for more than 10, 15 years. But then once they got the qualification, they actually got promoted to higher grade, to the higher grade. And this is a life examples and life experience that I already seen with my own eyes, and based on, of course, my experience in human resources and recruitment and selection of employees. So this is basically, yes, I have to say this is it's a no way to escape, between both. You need to have both, basically. I believe you need to have both.
Thank you very much.
Indeed, as you said, it's not fair for people who are school leavers and they left school for a long time and they have the experience for, let's say, 15, 20 years. But when it comes to qualification, you need to have that certified certificate or qualification.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salem Al-Riyami, for your input in the show, and we hope to have you on more shows, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you very much, Hatem, for actually letting me share with you these points and this interesting topic, actually.
Thank you.
And I hope we will meet some other time, inshallah.
Inshallah. Shukran.
Thank you, Hatem.
Dear listeners, we are running out of time, so we have to close today's topic. I would like to thank Ahmed Al-Mata'ani and Safiya Al-Habsi, our sound engineer, and remind you of tomorrow's show, The Mask We Wear, with Brother Ahmed Al-Mata'ani again. From me, Hatem Al-Absalam. Assalamu alaikum.
Life is a journey, and through this journey, we come across all challenges. These challenges makes us better human beings. We live for the pleasure of serving others and feeling the guidance of the Creator. Join us and explore the opportunities to overcome your difficulties this Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.